Hello. Today we're talking about the end of the war, end of World War II. So this is the last notes video where you'll have to listen to me talk. Your next video will be a crash course video that I turned into an Ed puzzle. So yay, you don't have to listen to me talk anymore. So here we go. End of the war. So Hitler commits suicide, kills himself, because he kind of knows that the war is over and is a lost cause. So on May 1st, 1945, the German government announces that Hitler had killed himself in his bunker. And 7 days later, a week later, Germany surrenders on May 8th. And VE Day is declared, Victory in Europe Day. And even though the war in Europe was now over, we were still fighting in the Pacific. We're still fighting Japan. So Japan still needs to be defeated. The US had started working on a nuclear bomb in 1939 because Albert Einstein came over and had told FDR that the Nazis were working on one. And so FDR created the Manhattan Project to kind of work on our own atomic bomb. So this was like a top secret team that was working on building the bomb. And by 1942, a University of Chicago scientist had figured out the technology. He developed the bomb. So by the summer of 1945, we were successfully testing them in New Mexico. In the spring of 1945, a committee started meeting to discuss how to effectively end the war in Japan, and they considered using the atomic bomb as a practical solution for many reasons. First of all, we wanted payback. We wanted a revenge for Pearl Harbor. They had embarrassed us, a world superpower, and this tiny island comes in and bombs us unexpectedly. So we want revenge for that. Second, the Manhattan Project cost $2 billion to develop. So they kind of want to get the taxpayers' money worth out of this project and show that it was useful in some way. And third, a Cold War was already beginning with the USSR, and we kind of wanted to show them that we were not the people to mess with. So we wanted to kind of impress them. So on August 6, 1945, we had decided to drop the bombs on Japan. So we dropped an atomic bomb named Little Boy on Hiroshima, and at least 140,000 Japanese were immediately killed or later died from radiation poisoning. I have some pictures here of the destruction that it caused. So you can see this town is just like obliterated. There's nothing really left standing except for the outside of this building. And then this is someone who is being affected by radiation poisoning. So the outside of his skin is like peeled off, as you can see. Pretty horrific stuff. So 140,000 Japanese die from the bomb on Hiroshima. About 90% of that city is absolutely flattened, like this picture. And then on August 9th, so 3 days later, Fat Man is the next bomb that's dropped, and it's dropped on Nagasaki with very similar results. And on August 14th, Japan surrenders and VJ Day arrives, Victory in Japan. So World War II is officially over August 14th. Okay, so effects of the war. So October 24th, 1945, the Allies formed the United Nations as an effort to kind of maintain world peace. And this kind of replaces the League of Nations that was developed in World War I. The United Nations was much more effective, as it is still in place today. And then Germany gets divided into two zones of influence. So it becomes the Federal Republic of Germany, which is West Germany, and the German Democratic Republic, which is East Germany. And the rest of Europe also falls into different spheres of influence between the West and the Soviets. So NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, becomes a military alliance between North America and some of the European countries. And then the Warsaw Pact becomes an agreement between the Soviets and some other Eastern countries. And then the tension between these two sides is kind of what leads into the Cold War and the arms race between America and the Soviet Union in post-war years. And our second Red Scare. And then in Asia, Japan is placed under military occupation, and Korea is as well, because they were a territory of Japan. So Korea is placed under occupation by America in the south and the Soviet Union in the north, which is what eventually causes the divide to cause the Korean War. And then the Nuremberg trials are what's held after the World War II is over to kind of try Nazis for war crimes. So they were trying to prosecute high members of the Nazi Party during the Nuremberg trials, and tons of important members of the Nazi Party commit suicide prior to being captured and tried in court. So a ton of them just killed themselves rather than go through this process. And then of those tried, 12 of the accused were sentenced to death, and then 7 received prison sentences. And those ranged from, like, some people got 10 years, some people got a life sentence. 3 ended up being acquitted of their crimes, and 2 are not even charged at all. So, in a nutshell, we have the United Nations now to kind of maintain world peace. Nuremberg trials put some of the Nazis away. We have some world superpowers on the stage. America is pulled out of the Great Depression, and we are popping off in this time period. So as we're entering the 1950s, we're becoming very prosperous. We're doing really well compared to some of the nations that have been war-torn by World War II. And that's it for World War II. Please make sure you watch the Holocaust crash course video. I think he does a really nice job of explaining, and this is the last notes video for this unit. So I'll see you next unit. Good day.